Welcome, Nerf fans. This is John and Charles from ContainmentCrew, and this is our review of the Nerf Zombie Strike Sidestrike.
Alright, so first in advance we have to apologize that the box has already been opened and we're actually missing the information packet from this because unfortunately this is actually our second time trying to record this. The first time we had some minor technical difficulties with the recording and we lost the sound to it. So we're starting over again, so we're just going to pretend that this is fresh and in the box. Okay? Everybody's clear on that? Good, we're going to start and pretend it's in the box. So, as we can see, we've got the blaster here. Comes with a nice little holster, and it follows the Zombie Strike design on the box. Very nice, and we're just gonna flip this on over here so you can see the nice little diagram. It's still in the box, don't worry about that. But you can see the nice little sketch that they got going here. And Charles, you want to read off the...
Yes. Mission when you need to react fast. Target: zombies when you least expect them. Location: tight spots. Blueprint: side strike blaster. Style: zombie strike darts. Function: always handy holster. Results: never be without a weapon.
Okay, so that's pretty much it, and yeah, there's not really much else going on in the box. Very, very, very simple. So we're gonna just set that aside for now.
One more thing. They're
Oh yeah, the zombie app, still not out for our phones. We're gonna have to check that for iPhones, because I think I heard somebody say that it is out for iPhone, but I'm not sure. None of us have an iPhone, unfortunately.
No.
All right, so now on to the blaster itself. It's got this nice little holster, which seems to fit the blaster very well. Charles, you got a Fire Strike? Because I believe the Fire Strike fits in here very nicely as well. Important to note about this is, being that the way it's shaped, this is actually nice and ambidextrous. Again, the clip is just a little clip, it's not a full loop, so...
But it does have a little bit more of a lip at the bottom.
Yeah, it's got a bit more of a grip on there. So this should stay on your belt buckle much better than some of the other ones. And just for reference, the Fire Strike does fit in there fairly nicely. It does wiggle around a little bit more, but as you can see, holding up the two blasters together, the front of them is very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually took the reference mold design for this one when they started working on this. And we'll put that aside for now. The blaster, basically, it's slide back and fire, and that's basically all there is. It's a nice little blaster. Like we said, this is our second time recording this, so we've had a lot of time to play with this. And the slide action we actually think is a lot more satisfying than the pullback on like a Fire Strike. But if you want to take some words on it, Charles?
Yeah, I personally really like it, and I'm hoping that it has similar modding potential to the Fire Strike, which, seeing as we've already had it open, we know that it should be reasonably close. I'd say stock, it's on par with the Fire Strike, but we'll see where it goes as far as being modded.
Yep. Because I think that's our next step, is we're going to crack this one open and take a look at what's going on inside. So we're going to cut here and we'll be back with it opened on up.
Alright, we're back and we've got the Side Strike and the Fire Strike open just for some comparisons. John, if you'd like to...
Yeah, we're just going to scoot this in here. The first thing I would like to say is that the slide on this is... Oops, that little piece comes off. But the slide on this is actually captive. It's got a little pressed pin in there. This doesn't come out very easily. It's actually probably best that you not rip it out. The other thing to note is when you're taking this apart, there is a screw hiding under the front of the slide. So you have to pull it back, hold it in place, take the screw out, and then let the slide come back, and make sure you hold the blaster together when you deprime it. But, yep, that's really the only note on the outside of the shell. For the inside, we've got a single shot blaster with not too much going on in there. It's really, really very simple. But we've got the slide is connecting, through with a little bar that pulls the priming rod back to actually prime it. The catch and the trigger here is pretty much all one little system. The catch has a little slit in it and the trigger fits into that, so when you pull the trigger down, the catch comes down, and the full the trigger return motion is totally on the spring that's operating the catch. But other than that, we can bring up the Fire Strike, and ignoring pretty much all the electronics in this, we've got pretty much a very similar blaster with the trigger activating the catch, and the whole tube and everything seems almost identical. The only real changes in here are, honestly, the front barrel just happens to be a flat off barrel, whereas the Fire Strike's angled, and we got little bits and bobs falling out, but those aren't that important. And the other thing to note on this is there's actually only one retention point in here for this whole thing. The front of the barrel sits in this piece that's retaining it, plus this little retention post here. Everything else about this is it's pretty much floating, which might make it kind of bad for modding with a beefier spring. I'd really want to watch out for that. Got the two. This actually has two return springs sitting on the top here. But I'm going to pop the plunger tube out of here. Comes out rather simply, like so. And if we go ahead and pull this out, we've got almost an identical. Actually, this is a single piece head, isn't it? Yeah, this whole thing is a single molded piece of plastic. So that's a little bit different. We've still got the little stopper in here. We've got our O-ring, and maybe the most important part about this that makes it easier than the Fire Strike is you can actually just wind the spring off this really, really, really simply. So, just like that, and you got your spring off, and you can get a new one on. There's your catch point on there. And for the most part, this actually seems really, really kind of sturdy. It feels like a really stiff plastic. It's got a little bit of play to it, so this part should hold up to a larger spring just fine. I actually want to lay this down somewhere where the lube's not going to get all over the place. The front of the plunger tube is constructed almost the same way as the Fire Strike. So we've already had this open once, but the front piece is just clipped into place and should pop right off if you hit the clips right. There we go, so that slides off. There's your barrel. Then this cap should pop off. Okay, the whole unit comes off. And when you pry this open, you should be able to get at the air restrictor. So, dun 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 dun. And just like that, and you can drop the spring and that is how simple this is to actually just AR it. And that's probably the most important point, is that it just ARs real simply. Barrel back on. Get our spring back on here. Just to show how simply simple this is. I don't think I can say that enough. This thing is really simple.
Yeah.
Pop it back in there.
It's honestly like modding a Night Finder again.
Yeah.
One of the weird little difficulties we had with the Fire Strike.
Okay, spring goes back in the resting point on the back here. That pops in there. Retention point back in. Trigger. Oh, it fell into the Fire Strike.
Yeah. He likes hanging out with the Fire Strike.
Catch. This whole system pretty much has to be slid in together, and then the spring pressed into place. And there you go, it's back together. Just put all your little bits and bobs back in if you want them, because these parts are completely cosmetic. Nope, other way?
Yep.
Where's this? Right there?
Maybe?
Yep, right there.
Ta-da! As soon as you line it up correctly.
Or your catch doesn't pop out of place. Technical difficulties.
Da 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 da.
Oh, this part jumped out too. Okay. There we go. And then, there. And you just pop your your screws back in, and you have a hard side strike. Much beefier now. But there you go. This is really a simple blaster to work on, and I think it actually has a fair amount of potential to being a really good sidearm. I'd actually, we thought the Fire Strike was a big improvement over the Night Finder, and if we can get some proper reinforcements in this and get a decently larger spring in here, I think this might be the new go-to for sidearms.
Yeah, just for simplicity's sake, because reinforcements are easy. It's that weird frickin' plunger head on the Fire Strike is a pain in the butt.
Yep. So there you have it. Overall, we're really happy with this. We see a lot of potential for this, and really recommend it. The holster's all right, but yeah, that's the
holster's all right, but I think I'm gonna stick with my pistol splat holster.
Yeah.
Which I don't have to show you that it fits, but I'm fairly certain it does, since, you know,
yeah, it's pretty much the same size as the Fire Strike. So
anyway, thanks for watching.